Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Day One Podcast. I'm Brett Nord.
I'm Adam Daly.
Yes, you are. And we're back.
Last time I checked.
That's right.
I hope everybody had a good holiday.
Sure.
We took a little bit of a break. Obviously, you're aware of that, but we're back now in regular recording fashion. So happy holidays, everyone. Hope you had a good new year.
Right.
And I hope your resolutions are going strong.
Or your processes, if you're working on intentions or something other than resolutions.
That's true. There's such a connotation there with resolutions, right?
Right.
Nobody keeps them past the first month. I've actually been going to the gym, and I started this before the new year.
Jim who? What's his last name?
Yeah, he's my therapist. No, but I've been going to the gym, and I started before the new year. And I've still been going, and it's interesting, like, right at the beginning of the new year, you see the gym full of people, and now it starts to taper off. Sure. And that's not that used to be me. It still could be on many things, but stay strong to something you want to do.
Right.
Make those goals and make them work for yourself. And I've found personally holding myself accountable through writing them down. Like if you want to do it in day one, that is a great way to do it and follow up on it.
So I'm similarly setting intentions for the year. And I thought for me, we know about the measurable. We've talked about that.
Yes.
SMART. But I found for me it works better if I just say I make a goal to move every day.
There you go.
Pretty subtle. So yeah, sometimes it's a workout. If I can't get to the gym, I do something at home. But it's just keep moving. And try to work that in. You can do it while you're taking breaks throughout the day. If you're sitting at a desk, if you're driving around, get out and walk around. Yeah. But just the idea of, to me, that's an easier quote unquote goal, is the intention of I want to just move more.
No, I agree. And this is not to be a Apple worshiper, but the Apple Watch makes that really easy. It
does.
When you can, I want to complete those rings every day. And it's so motivating. It's really great. There's a lot of great tools out there that are at our disposal that, even more affordable than the Apple Watch, that you can, like a Fitbit or something like that.
Sure.
Great ways to keep things motivated. I know I'm talking all about physical health, but there's other mental health things that you can do too.
Yes.
There's this new thing I saw recently where it's like, it's a little device you put in the middle of your back, and it helps you have better posture. And if you slouch over, it will vibrate and make sure you sit back up. Yeah. Very interesting. I thought that was kind of fascinating.
That is, yeah.
Health things, man. That's the story of the 2010s, isn't it?
Well, Apple, in fact, Tim Cook recently spoke and said that was, I think it was their quarterly results, where he said the next frontier for Apple, like where we feel like we're going to make a life change, is fitness. Or health. Right. Health in general.
Well, with the ECGs on the watch, and it's great stuff. Yes. But speaking of let's talk about software health and the health of day one.
Let's do it. Nice.
Thanks for everybody who joined day one. If you're new and you're just listening to this podcast for the first time, welcome aboard. We had a great number of signups over the new year, so we're very grateful for that, and hope you're excited to keep documenting your life. So I wanted to let everybody know about some updates that are coming down the pipeline. In fact, one's pretty close. I'm pretty sure it's been submitted for review by Apple, but this is the 3.5 update for iOS. And we've got some cool things in there. Number one of my favorites, is the Watch app will work independently of the iPhone. Now, this was kind of working before. It is more now fully functional without a connection to your iPhone. So if you leave your phone at home and you go on a walk, you want to record your voice or shoot down a location thing, if it's got GPS, you can do all of that. And then when you connect to the phone, all of that data will transfer. Right. And there'll even be a little indicator that will show you that, X number of entries are syncing to the phone. So coming soon. I'm very excited about that. Very cool thing, because that's what I do. If I've got the watch on, I'm not taking the phone also with me in my gym shorts to go on a walk.
Sure.
That's just too much.
Yes.
Especially with a giant, phone.
I've started doing that. I always thought I wanted the camera with me, but then I'm really not taking pictures when I'm walking.
Right.
I'm hiking, yes, but just for a walk or whatever, I don't take it.
Yeah.
Use the phone.
But now you can use day one independent of that, so that's coming.
Kudos to the UI that Johnny and Paul have worked on. I think it's really intuitive and looks great.
Yes, and updated help guides if you're interested in seeing those. But there's this new thing now where you'll swipe between your stuff. So as you open up the app, you'll have the one main screen where you can start a new blank entry, or you can start audio recording. But then if you just swipe to the left or right, you have different options there for audio recording and checking in at your recent locations. So great stuff in there. Really good. Nice, clean, slick, good design. I agree with you. Some improved things that are coming. The app icon badge is coming back, the notification badge.
Yay.
Now, did we talk about why that was disabled?
We did, but we had plenty of users that said we don't like that.
Right, they want it back.
We want it back.
Right. People rely on that for reminding them to get into it, and that's totally fine. The reason why it was taken out in the first place was because when that badge app gets cleared, it can clear out all notifications related to the app, and some people were setting up independent reminders in day one. So if you cleared out one, it cleared out all of them.
Right.
And so, if you were using templates in those reminders, those templates were lost unless you got the reminder the next day. So we're putting that back as an option. You can enable it or disable it in the notification settings. So check that out. The day one settings for the notifications. Some external keyboard controls that you'll have. So like on your iPad Pro with external keyboard, smart keyboard, there's some gestures you can do with like the arrows and stuff moving back and forth. Really cool. What else? Siri shortcuts have been improved. There's a fix there where people were using their Siri shortcuts and it would say, you need to open the day one app to do this. I think that's been fixed.
Great.
So that's good. What else? Audio player.
Audio player. I was going to say, was there any updates to the drawing?
There was. It's copy and paste. Day one drawing will retain all metadata and editability. So if you're copying an entire drawing and pasting it in a new entry, you can still edit that in that new entry. So, but the audio player.
Yes.
So after you've done an audio recording in day one, it will now show the time of day for the time code. So as you're scrubbing through your audio as it's playing, it's going to show you the time of day instead of just a timer. It's really cool. I like that.
I haven't seen that yet. Cool.
What else? Audio recording with AirPods has been fixed. We're really sorry about that. A couple of other fixes that are coming. So check out the release notes that'll be available when that is live. Like I said, it's in review, and so be aware of that. Now, the other big update that I know people are wanting to know about is Mac.
Right.
Brett mouthed that to me.
I did.
Totally. We're waiting on that as well. Now, it has been, it's been a little while, but this update is huge as far as the UI. In my opinion, it's the biggest UI update since the jump from Classic to 2.0.
Wow.
So really big. This is it makes sense, right? It's the jump from 2.9 to 3.0 in Mac.
Yes.
That's underway. There's a lot of great stuff in there in the design, but a lot of stuff is changing, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer. The team is getting it right, making sure it looks great. So it's being worked on.
Indeed.
I think they're on an internal beta of like beta 6 or something. So
2.999.
Yeah.
Beta 6.
No, 3.0.6, right?
Oh yeah, internal. Yeah.
3.0.0.6 or something. I don't know how they number that, but
close.
Anyway, that's coming and it looks really great. I'm really excited about the Mac update because it just looks clean. There's a lot of visual parity between the iOS app. You're gonna like it. You're going to like it. And it's going to have all the cool editing stuff that iOS has as well, because I think that's important. There have been, comments that we've had about being able to edit links or add links to text in day one on Mac. And you can do that right now with inline markdown links, text and stuff like that. But you'll have more control over it with 3.0. Nice. Better formatting and stuff like that. So very excited about that. There is one bug I wanted to bring up, which is related to Instagram. So if you have Instagram connected with Activity Feed or with IFTTT, there has been an issue where the text is not coming through. And I'm not sure if that's related to API changes on Instagram's side or what, because I don't think we've adjusted anything on there. But if you're like adding entries from Instagram, the text isn't coming through. So I talked to the team about this. We've reported it. And I think what they're going to do is go back to this original idea that we had to import all historical Instagram data and then ongoing Instagram data. So it'll be like a feed that works directly with Instagram and day one, where you just connect your two accounts and you'll have a separate Instagram journal. And it'll pull all your past entries in, and then as you add new ones, it'll pull those in as well.
Cool.
So I think that's the plan.
Yes.
Don't hold it to me if it's not.
Right. As of now,
I'm not the one that has to commit to these things. I'm just the one that is getting you excited about it, right? And then it doesn't happen. They're like, what?
The big letdown.
Adam said this. Yeah, but no, I'm really excited about that. We had a test running, and it was really slick. Really cool thing.
If you're listening to this podcast in the year 2020, it's out. It's fixed.
It's ready to go.
Yeah. No.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
That's a lot. That's it.
A lot of stuff going on. Yeah. And remember, you can also like buy gifts for someone if you want. President's Day is coming up, right? Martin Luther King Day is coming up. That's what it is.
It's President's, not President's Day.
Right.
So you can still give a present.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Okay. Nice. All holidays should be gift giving.
I love it.
Hallmark capitalizes on this. Why can't we?
April Fool's Day. All of them.
April Fools. Yeah.
Here you go.
Absolutely. No. A lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline.
Yes.
And thanks for your support, ongoing support. It's users like you that make this possible. So thank you. Mm-hmm. That's all I have, Brett.
Awesome.
Oh, do we want to talk about the book club coming up?
We do.
We want to just give it a little teaser about that, or?
Yes, I do. So Stephanie, I'm looking for her last name real quick because I'm on a first name basis with her. We have discussed Stephanie Sakura. She's written a book. She actually had a book released this week, and the book is called Simplified: a Real Life Approach to Organizing Your Space and Saving Your Sanity.
I need that in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, space meaning physical space, like how to organize my house.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I definitely need that.
And I was just looking, if she instead of organizing, if she had said sorting your space, would have alliteration all the way across.
Yeah.
Sorting your space and saving your sanity. Ooh. That'd be 4 S's in a row.
Brett, I love alliteration. If you listen to my other podcast, I try to alliterate everything.
Well, we were on a roll there for a while with the names, like Peep from Portland.
Peep from Portland, that's right.
We had Morgan from
Melbourne.
That's
right.
Yeah.
She's from Melbourne,
sure.
right?
Australia.
I know it's Australia, but Australia is a big place.
Melbourne starts with an M.
Right.
We're going to say it.
Morgan, that's where you're from now.
Whole bunch. Today we have Mike from New Jersey.
No, yeah.
So there's another M&M.
Close enough.
Mike in New Jersey. No, it didn't work. Back to the book club. So Stephanie is actually working on getting a date for us. It's going to be end of February. So we have a good month to read it. We're going to have links. She's actually going to be very involved. She already is in the Day One community on Facebook, so she's going to get more involved. She's actually going to host and moderate the book club, which I think will be awesome.
Brilliant.
Rather than you and I.
Yeah.
With our limited knowledge of just having read the book once, she's going to have much more depth.
How cool is that to have the author with us? Yeah,
yes,
I agree.
Looking forward to that. So more details coming up. In fact, I'll have an audio clip from her next time we do the podcast to talk more about the upcoming book club. So look forward to end of February.
Brilliant.
Yeah, excited about that. Referencing back to the Tim Cook thing I said.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure I got this because this is a big thing he said. Apple's most important contribution to mankind will be in health.
Yeah. Well, obviously they're pulling stories that make them look good, and that's just business, right? But
sure.
Some of the stories that we've heard in their keynotes about, the Apple Watch saved my life because it notified me my heart rate was high.
Sure.
And I went to the hospital. Turns out I was having a heart attack, and I'm alive now.
Right.
And, who knows what could have happened if you didn't have that kind of alert going on.
Sure.
Or, any number of things like the SOS stuff you can do on your watch if you're in need of emergency assistance.
Sure.
You can have your medical life bracelet basically all in your watch so people could access that and get vital information about you. Mm-hmm. That's right there in the watch. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline that I think is going to be a big deal.
Oh, I think we're just infant stages.
Yeah. Well, they also highlighted another thing about OBGYNs where they were they had mothers wear the watches and they could monitor heart rates that way as well.
Really?
Or like separate fetal heart monitors that mothers could put on their belly, would talk to the phone, communicate to the doctor's office privately, securely.
Yeah.
And they can monitor you from remote locations. Isn't that rad?
That is.
Holy cow.
And the current ones, you didn't mention the fall, right? Detective.
Oh, the fall detector?
Or if you're on a trampoline, if you're doing ups and downs.
Oh, man. I have a trampoline, and I've only gotten on a handful of times because I just don't want to ruin it. I'm like, kids, do you want to enjoy the trampoline? You don't want me on the trampoline. Right. Let's go for longevity.
Because then you won't be on the trampoline
That's
if I'm on it.
That's right.
You'll be on the floor crying. Yeah. Should we get to our discussion?
Let's do it. I'm excited.
All right.
First discussion of the new year.
It is. What is it? 2019. That's right. I got to get used to saying. It takes me a month when you're writing checks.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
Checks. Who writes checks anymore?
I do.
What? I'm not going to give you crap about it. That's fine.
You're right. I haven't written a check for a few.
It's becoming obsolete.
It is. Yeah.
Somebody, I think once I was at a doctor's office, they're like, "We accept checks," and I'm like, "Why? Just do away with those."
Yeah, I agree for sure. We are going to listen to some highlights I had with a discussion with Mike St. Pierre in New Jersey. Mike's an awesome guy. I had a really great discussion with him. He works at a nonprofit for Catholic private schools,
cool,
university level, and he does podcasts during the week for himself and for his team. And I think you're going to enjoy it.
Awesome.
So let's start with a little introduction from Mike.
Hey, this is Mike from New Jersey, and I've been using Day One and have over 1,000 entries.
There you go.
1,000. Nice. That's about where I'm at.
I'm under 1,000.
I'm getting close. Well, I guess my main journal has 1,062. I'm not trying to compete with Mike, but
no. Go, Mike.
Go, Mike.
Get more than that.
It's not going to be hard, I promise.
Let's hear about his love for Day One and how he came to find it.
I think I've used it since it first came out, and I've always been a journaler, and then just with paper and pen, and I would never go back and read them. I would just, it was just part of a morning routine,
Yes.
And then Day One came out, and I love the aesthetic. It's really polished. It looks like something Apple would make,
Yes.
and then I love using both a MacBook Air and my phone and an iPad. So Day One just looks awesome on all of those. So that, I think added to it. And then you guys just have so much, spit and polish on the app that it makes you want to use it. And, so for me, it started just personally, but now it's expanded to things at work too. And so I love it. I've tried others, along the way, and I come back to Day One every single time. And so, can't say enough about what you guys are doing.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
It's always nice to hear the praise too.
Sure.
I like it.
Do you find that you are constantly looking for something better, or like he says, I've tried other things? Day One is one of the few apps that I'm really like, I'm good. I don't want to invest time in something else.
Well, as part of my job, I guess it's not part of my job, but I am curious to see what other apps are doing, and I know Paul does that too. He's aware of other apps out there and what they're doing, and I don't know necessarily that our intention is to compete in that sphere. Like, hey, they're doing this, let's do that too, or something. If Paul doesn't mind me speaking for him a little bit, his goal is just to be the best Day One that it can be, right? And we're going to include features or design that makes that happen, rather than, well, let's compete with Evernote because they're doing this, or Diary, or whatever other apps out there. So I'm aware of what's out there, and I kind of check in on them every now and then, and go to the App Store and see what features they've updated and stuff like that. But it's not like I'm looking to replace Day One.
Right.
So
I did get a text from Paul just now. And he said,
"Don't
speak for me." Although I agree with what you said. That's what he just said. So you're good. It's close. When I asked Mike if he had a journaling routine, here's what he said.
Yeah, so I every morning. So again, in the kind of nerd spectrum, so I've got an Alexa light in my home office, which is scheduled to go on from 6 a.m. to 6:30 every day.
Love it.
And, so I'll get up, take the dog out, make some coffee, come down to the office, and I just start by kind of reflecting on what I'm grateful for, what's on my mind. Sometimes it's something in the news, something is with my family, something at work, whatever. Spend some time kind of trying to connect that with, so I'm a Christian, so trying to connect that with my bigger why, or, my, and then looking forward to the day ahead. And that's it, try to keep it simple.
That's one thing that I've been a proponent of, is routine. whatever that routine looks like
Right.
is something you have to define for yourself. But, as long as you're doing something regular. So let's say you write 3 times a week. If that's what you do, then that's what you do.
Exactly.
Versus someone who writes every day like Mike. That's what he does and it works for him. So you just have to find that routine that's going to make most sense for you and stick to it as much as you can. Build those good habits.
I love the idea of the Alexa Light from 6 to 6:30. So for me, if journaling is something I'm struggling with, and just think I only have to write while the light's on, or just during this window, so you almost say, okay, the light's only, not really true, but you say, hey, the light's only going to be on for a half hour. I got to make sure I'm there, present of mind, and start writing.
Yeah.
Not that you're going to write for a half hour, but whatever his morning routine is, meditate, prayer, whatever he said he wants to do. But I love that idea of kind of having a set time.
Well, there's some health benefits too, mental health, physical health, in establishing regular patterns like that, as far as your sleep patterns, right? So if I know I have to be up at 6 o'clock,
Sure.
I'm going to do my best to get the adequate rest that I need in order to make that deadline. That's kind of how I view it anyway. And so if I'm making that a regular habit, then, I get into a rhythm, my body knows it's time to rest, etc. Right. Because I've read in places where, if people have regular routines throughout the work week and then sleep in during the weekend, it throws off your rhythm. Really the suggestion is to maintain your schedule all the time.
Should we disclose to everyone that's listening that it's a Saturday, it's in the afternoon, we're both in bathrobes? We usually do this when we're at work during the day when it's a weekend.
Hey, we're comfortable now. But I didn't sleep in though. I woke up at the same time. Because I don't know. I think that's good for you.
It is.
So I like the way he's established that. Yeah. And I think, by basing that, getting you start early in the morning, getting your mind going, that's going to help him out later on at work.
Sure, frames the day. Yep.
I'm making assumptions here. I have anecdotal data, but he's going to get started the way he gets started, and it's going to make a routine good for him. It's going to get his mind start working. Yep. What I like to do is have a glass of water every morning.
I just got a text from Mike again. He said, just like Paul, don't speak for me. Don't make assumptions.
I'm putting words in everybody's mouth today. Hope that. Oh well. This is just the health, medical health, and mental health by Adam Daly.
That's right.
Not MD.
He doesn't play one on TV, but he does play one on a podcast.
That's right. Not PhD either.
Yeah, that's right.
I only have anecdotal data. That's all I have.
It's good stuff. I thought this was a great comment too, because many of us struggle with the going from analog writing journals to a digital format. For some, no problem, but for others, it's a challenge.
For sure.
It was an okay switch, partly because my handwriting is so bad, and I think I would be a physician in another life. And then, but I like too, in day one, you can change the font size, you can change the fonts, and I guess, and I still use paper for a lot at work, and I just churn through notebooks, it just helps me think. But I find that day one has just enough customization that you feel like, this is really mine. And I have the fingerprint set up to get in. So I think that's another way that it makes you feel like it's really my journal or set of journals, and it's only mine. And so I never, ever worry about is somebody else going to read this, or it never comes into my mind.
Very good. I realize that I laugh too hard on these interviews. I've got to pull back from the mic. I've got to use other words than yes. So I'm going to say correct and I agree.
Bingo.
Yeah. Learning.
Do that
as
one.
we go.
Do that one next time.
I thought this is a good one as well, because when we talked about streaks, Adam, in a past podcast, we had quite a few actually that said, if day one implements that as like a mandatory thing, I'm out.
I'm out.
I hate the idea of
I
streaks.
get it. I get
me
it
too.
Well, we've talked about feature bloat.
Yes.
That's something definitely that we try to avoid.
Yes.
And we get a lot of feature requests.
Sure.
We do. I'm sure like any software.
Right.
People want, people do things differently. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of want things that are going to work with their routine, their style. And that's makes total sense. But, we also have to look at what's going to be the overall success. What's the overall mission of day one? Is it to become like just data management or file storage or something like that? Because there are other apps out there that maybe do that better.
Of course.
And, you know, I remember when Publish was a big thing in Day One Classic, people wanted to publish entries online so they could share those with other people. I get it. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I'd love to just share this publicly. Mm-hmm. But again, there's other apps or services out there that do that really well.
Right.
And is that the sphere that we want to compete in? Or do we want to focus on being a personal digital journal? So, you know, those are all considerations that you have to take into account.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had an interesting take on that as far as streaks and the idea that we don't have to be perfect if we're even trying that.
Amen.
Yeah.
And be very effective in terms of, you know, I don't want to mess up a streak. And that's not to say that, I mean, I do mess up the streak and it's not perfect, you know, and some days I'm writing a lot more than others, but I like that calendar feature to just look back and say, I'm showing up, you know, and and it ain't perfect, but I'm doing the work. And I think that's, for me, that's really worked well.
That's great.
Yeah. Good.
We don't have to be perfect. Yep. And if it was like an everyday thing, I'd never make it either.
No.
Or I would be doing it just out of the sense of duty, and it wouldn't be as genuinely motivated, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Sometimes the check the box thing works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. I know it works for other people, and for other people it doesn't. So it just, you know, we have to find our own style. But if I had to like see that every day, so the rings is one thing, right? On my watch, where I'm trying to achieve 30 minutes of exercise, my calorie or move steps or whatever, and then my stand goal. But if it's like where I'm writing something or I'm being introspective, I don't want to be a check the box kind of person there. I want that to come out organically. Mm-hmm. And so I agree. It has to be unique to you.
Unique to you is exactly it. Because for others that maybe set a goal to be a better writer, it does help to write every day. So to have a consistent goal. And I think having something like streaks might help in the beginning until it just becomes part of your daily morning routine or just your way you go about. Here's how he talks about his journals.
So I think I have got like 8 journals right now, you know, so my biggest one is just my daily journal.
Yes.
But then I've had a series of personal podcasts over the years, and then I have the work one, and I'll write the script right in there. And then, you know, when I'm recording the podcast, I'll have the iPad on one side of the desk with the questions or just, you know, the notes, whatever. And then I'm recording on the laptop right beside it. So that a notebook is really helpful for that. Gosh, what else do I have? I've got a notebook for, I call it blog post ideas. So on my personal website and blog, that's just a nice place to put ideas there. I've got one, and I think it's called Dreams, and it's just like people I admire, you know, and put them all in a blender, and that be like your ultimate career or profession. Like, you know, you look at different professionals or leaders and you say, wow, I love the whatever of that one. I really admire this of that one. So that one, I like that because I use Evernote also, but more just to park nuts and bolts. You know, I'll take a picture of a receipt and that will go into Evernote, you know. I like to keep Day One to be more reflective, you know, stuff that kind of matters more to me. And then the third app would be, you know, the to-do app, which is just like churning through, you know, you're just cranking widgets, just the work of the day. So, but I like, you know, I like trying to sort of protect Day One for some of that more reflective stuff. And that's been really useful to me.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. There's other good utility apps for stuff like that.
Right.
You know, Evernote is great in its sphere for documents and different things like that. To Do is one of my favorite apps. The design is so clean, such a great app. I can organize tasks or projects and stuff like that, and lots of details in there.
I thought you used Things.
Oh, Things. Yeah, sorry, not To Do. I used to have To Do.
Yeah.
Things 3, that's what I have. That's the one I was talking about, sorry. Great design in Things 3.
Yes.
I love the project management in Things 3. So like when I need to get stuff done for work, create a project, all the to-dos. And those, you know, those are good for checking off the boxes.
Yes.
But I'm totally with him on this. Yeah. With the reflective, the introspective part, that's where, you know, my inner thoughts are going. Or those are my memories where I want pictures of my kids and audio recordings of bedtime routines, you know, my daughter reading me a story or whatever. That's where I'm putting those things into Day One.
Awesome. Let's hear a little bit more from Mike about his routine and how he shares entries with the faith coach. Never heard of a faith coach before. Here we go.
I would say it's most days in my home office. And then if it's not there, like, let's say the dog gets up late or I get up late and I only have 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes, then it might be at the kitchen table, but probably just those two spots. And then, on the rare occasion, if just the whole morning gets blown up, it might just be a quick entry before I go to bed. And it might just be as simple as, thanks God, great day.
Yeah.
And at least just for that little moment, I was a little bit mindful of, my place, my tiny little place in the history of the universe, and captured that. And how cool is it that day one was what I used to capture that? I mean, that's pretty awesome. I visit I have like a faith coach that I visit once a month, and it's common that he never would ask for it, but I'll say, look at my streaks, or clearly I had a good month, or something like that. And it's not that it's as simple as that. It's not. I mean, life is a lot of gray, but it's at least a way of showing that, I'm at least expressing some gratitude and just reflecting on life on a regular basis. And I don't know about you, Brett, but I just find that's, I have 4 kids. So life is really full. It's really fast. There's a lot going on at work, and it's all good. But day one sort of slows me down for these little moments. And so, I'm glad to pay the monthly, whatever I pay for it.
Thanks.
To me, that's worth it.
I like that.
I knew you would. Of course you would.
Well, I find that's the most motivating factor for me when using day one is those kinds of things. Slowing down. That idea right there makes so much sense to me because it just parallels how I'm using it. Life is fast paced. We're moving 1 million miles a second. We're already in the second week, almost third week of January, right?
Little disappointed you didn't use the Ferris Bueller line.
What did I say?
You were so close to it.
What was it?
Life happens fast. What is it now?
I don't know.
You're the movie buff.
No, but it's been a while since I've seen Ferris Bueller.
Oh, what is it?
Great movie though. John Hughes, everybody. John Hughes. I'm a bit of a John Hughes fan.
Dan, I can't believe you don't know this quote.
Sorry.
Life happens fast. Come on, what is it? Moves pretty fast.
Here's the quote from Ferris Bueller.
If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let my Cameron go. That's my favorite one.
I love that movie. It's still held up over time. Whatever. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's held up over time.
Kids, don't watch that. Don't think that you can slough and then change your absent records.
No, of course not. It's so funny to see
slough.
the data
That's a Utah term.
Is it?
Skip class.
When I lived in Minnesota, it was budge.
Budge, yeah. So everybody's got their own. Everybody's got their own thing, but punt. In Utah they say slough.
I've heard punt too as a
skipping class.
Yeah.
Punt class. Man, I've never heard that one.
Yeah.
But I knew when I said it, I'm like, wait, that's a colloquialism. I can't say that out.
Yeah.
No, but what's slough? It's like who says soda or pop?
Right.
Yeah,
the big debate over that one.
We'll have to ask Mike next time because he's in New Jersey.
We have 6 left. We got good time?
We're at 30 minutes, so you tell me.
Let's crank.
All right.
I think people would like to hear these, so let's go.
Hey, it's been great so far, so
good.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, Mike's got some good stuff. This is using day one for work a little bit more.
Okay.
That he's already talked about, but using it to build narrative.
Perfect.
I use it for work to capture like big ideas, So I mentioned earlier the podcast, so I'll use it. I just use it this morning as I'd say every other Monday we cut our podcast, and I don't like having to switch from multiple screens on my MacBook Air. Sure. So I like having just day one open next to it for show notes or things like that. So I use it for show notes. Use it to kind of, I guess, in words, sketch out a big project and what that might look like. Again, we use Todoist as a team at work.
Yes.
But again, that's more just to delegate or share tasks.
Yes.
Whereas day one, you can really build a narrative for something.
Gosh. I got to lower my mic volume on that.
It's you're coming through really clear. It's just louder than he is. Yeah. So it's me. I've got this cranked up over here on my end.
You don't know when I'm going to speak though. So
I know.
Up and down.
I'm trying to moderate it, but
it'd be easier if I just.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You sound good.
Good. Let's move on. Tags. I think people either use them or don't. Isn't that really true? Like a binary?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's preference, total user preference.
Do you use tags much?
Tags I did about a year ago, and I find tags to be like Markdown. Like I want to use it more. I just haven't quite figured out a reason to. But I'll flex that muscle every so often, and it makes me feel, like I'm using it. But I probably could do a lot better in that regard.
Don't you find that if you use tags, you reflect on looking back at those tags? And if you think, for me anyway, if I don't do tags, I'm thinking it's going to be hard to go back to look at entries. So
maybe. The only reason I think I would personally start using them is to be able to separate out entries that are specific to like one of my kids, right? When doing like book printing or having that in mind where I want to give them the data,
sure,
export all of the entries with the tag of my son's name to a book and then give him those as like a gift or something. That's how I think I would personally use it. But I know other people use them, if you'll forgive the term, religiously, because
Mike would relate.
Yeah, it's a way to organize their thoughts.
Sure.
Some people might use multiple journals. Some people might use tags instead. Some people use both. It just depends on, what's your purpose for it? Is it for filtering? Is it for, searching or reflecting back? Well, I want to go look back on all these, tags that I had a hard time that day or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Do it the way.
For me personally, that's not what I'm getting out of day one. Any reflection for me is on this day, mostly.
Nice.
I rarely just kind of randomly scroll through and look back at past entries, but when they start coming up on this day,
that's fun.
That is where the dopamine just kicks in. I really like going back and oh yeah, that was a great memory.
Yeah.
And I've got some, there's some great ones in there for me.
Nice.
And they're not all great, but a lot of them are, and it's fun. But it just depends.
Yeah,
just depends.
Here's what Mike talks about on this day as well.
Awesome.
It's nice, isn't it? There's not necessarily like a right or wrong way to use it. And,
yes,
correct. Just to use it. And that's,
yes.
I will say I have gone back more in day one at looking at, the old, what does it say on the panel? You have 6 entries on this day in history or something like that. And I'm always like,
on this day.
Oh, that's a lot, and but that does prompt me occasionally to go back and say, well, what was going on then? Whereas when I was a paper journaler, I never.
Yes.
It's just about getting stuff out of my head. That's really the thing. But in day one, you guys are pulling me back there. You're making me kind of go back in history, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
No.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Definitely the advantage of digital over analog. I don't know.
Well, and it keeps kind of focused too, right? You could be spending a lot of time scrolling through a lot of old data, but if it's more of a momentary thing where you reflect on what was going on in the past year, that to me is more beneficial. Just catching a glimpse of where I was a year ago and think about what has changed since. Maybe write a few of those ideas down and move on.
Yeah, awesome. I'm going to skip a couple here. Let me get to using photos the day one. I know we've talked about this a lot. A lot of the people we talk to in discussions frame their entry with a photo.
Yes.
Yeah, I take photos. Mostly I'll just pull anything from my phone because it all just syncs, and then, but occasionally, I guess this morning, we have this adorable puppy, so I think he's really good looking. And so, I just snapped the shot just right there. And I don't know. It kind of like adds a little something on that left panel.
Yes.
And I like that. I think that's pretty cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm mostly a photo journaler.
Same.
And the new layout algorithm that was implemented by our team just makes them look great in the way they organize them, keep the same aspect ratio and stuff like that. Really, really good looking. Coming in the future to book printing and PDFs. So that kind of great layout will be expanded there.
I'm going to play one more. I'm going to actually skip the one that he talks about supporting development. We've kind of already hit that in one of his posts of how important that is. But it was great because he has singled out 3 or 4 apps that he feels like he really wants to follow their journey by listening to podcasts and being involved in it. And so anyway, the last one I'm just going to share is his most used feature.
Perfect.
Well, Quick Add is really nice on
Mentioned
3D Touch. I really like that. Yep. Probably the calendar. I guess that's probably the thing that, besides just kind of quick entry journaling, just being able to see how am I doing, and I like that it's color coded. So my journal's in blue, so if I'm seeing a lot of blue, that's really good. And
That's awesome.
That's silly little feedback, but it actually helps me.
I agree.
Sure it's for some people that it works and helps, and some people it doesn't. But for me, it really does help. So
Yes.
that's probably my most used feature.
Calendar. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's a great looking thing where you can see all this, all the dates filled in or maybe lack thereof, and identify room for improvement.
Yep.
Mine are pretty scattered, but that's my routine.
Scattered. Sure.
Well, I just mean, it's not that I'm not consistent. I'm just not every day. Every day is not my consistency.
Adam's showing me his calendar.
I did. Sorry, I was turning that around.
It's good. No, it's good.
You can't see it, but there it is. But that's that's how I journal. If I'm sticking to it, then that's what matters.
That's right. Right. Thank you, Mike. Thanks
Yes.
for the discussion, and hope everyone enjoyed hearing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always glad to talk about other people's experiences with Day One. If you enjoy Day One, I'm just going to put this out there. If you don't mind, go to the App Store and give us a rating.
Yeah.
We're not asking you to say anything specific, but if if that's something that you like, give us a rating, because we don't do much marketing at all. Right. We're a small company, and the ratings on the app stores are some of the best places that we hear from our users. Sure. And
if you need help with a review, we can help you write it. We've got templates. Our favorite ones of history.
Ignore Brett Apple. He's not really saying that. No. Big Brother Apple's listening, Brett.
Hey, I did a lot of Apple, good things about Apple.
It's true.
About the
it's true.
Tim Cook's comments.
No, I know. Just don't tell them we're buying off our reviews.
We're not.
Just kidding. No, but thank you if you have done a review. We appreciate that. That really goes a long way to help the app. It just gets our name out there, and we're thankful for your support over the years. So thank you for all of that.
And again, welcome to all the new users that started the new year with us. Apple, back it to Apple, but they did a great job of highlighting Day One with the new year.
Yeah, resolution stuff.
Resolution and starting the new year off. Some great features.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Anything else?
Just Facebook community, I want to mention, to that point of adding a lot of new users. We had quite a few new members join.
Oh, yeah.
We're at 4,100, almost 4,200 members. Again, all community driven. Adam and I pop in there on occasion as users to make comments, but not so much support or Day One employees. I think everyone in the company is also monitoring, or not monitoring, participating.
They'll check in.
Yeah.
You know what I think is great about that? I was actually thinking about this the other day. Somebody went in, asked a question that might have gone to support, and the community came to their aid before I even got there, and were able to answer the question in a very satisfactory way. And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That you're all helping each other, and I think that is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's not meant to be a support thing, but if you guys have questions and you're asking each other, that is totally a great place to do that.
Right.
Maybe somebody has a solution that I haven't thought of or anything like that. And so what a great place to go. Thank you for all of you that participate in there, and I hope you're getting something out of it, because I know I am. I actually am. And people have shared Siri shortcut stuff that works with Day One.
Use of audio recordings.
Oh yeah, different tips and stuff like that. Really cool stuff. So thank you for your participation in that. If you do need specific help from support, you can always contact us. Go to dayoneapp.com/contact, and we'll give you the ways to get a hold of us. In fact, if you are on your iPhone or your iPad, there is an in-app chat right there within the app in the settings if you go down to support. There's a chat if you go to our help guides, help.dayoneapp.com, where that's all self-service, where you can look through our help guides, tutorials, tips, and stuff like that. But there's also a little chat icon at the lower right corner. If you need to get in touch with us, get some more clarification on something, click on that and just start chatting with us. So,
perfect.
A lot of ways to get help if you need it. Make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you're not already. And yeah, that's all I've got.
And we are wide open right now to get new feedback as we start the new year for the podcast. So anything we can do to be a better service in providing information.
Yep. Send that to podcast@dayoneapp.com. Links below. You can also schedule time with Brett for an interview if you'd like. Tell your story, how you use Day One, because we love hearing these great perspectives and passing those on to the rest of the world. So stay tuned for the updates. They're coming. We're working hard. We're excited for this new year and what it has to offer. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. We haven't mentioned this in a few weeks, but video is still on the roadmap. So video support, it has been working in an internal beta, and it looks great. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Right on. It's a wrap.
I'm very excited. It's going to be a good year.
Yeah.
2019.
For sure.
I'm fist pumping.
It feels like it should be. It's so odd. It's an off number.
2019?
Yeah.
Dude, roaring 20s are coming up, man. Roaring 20s. Can you believe it? If we don't bring back flappers and stuff like that.
Great idea. You've got a year to plan it.
We're missing out on a wonderful opportunity.
I did not see that coming, I'll admit it.
What, roaring 20s?
Yeah, you to advocate the roaring 20s for the
Why not?
21st century. Okay, I like it. Okay.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll talk to you in another 2. And thanks for listening.
Take care.